Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I am all about helping predominantly women entrepreneurs worldwide truly figure out how to speak up and scale their business and hit those six-figure and beyond milestones that they truly desire, but ultimately create more brave and more bliss in their life. And that's what this show's all about, is being brave and getting your brave on. And I bring guests on like Samantha to really give us that insider scoop, right? The kind of under the hood of what it takes to get to where we are, and also what it takes to continue to keep going to where we're going, right? To stay in the game. So welcome, Samantha Riley. I'm so excited you're here. I was on your podcast not too long ago, and I'm just really excited to reciprocate that and share you with my community. So welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I am doing absolutely fantastic, and I'm super excited to be chatting with you again, Jena, because last time it was absolutely brilliant.
Yes, thank you for that. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I love the fact you're in Australia and you're in the future. And,
yes, hello from tomorrow.
Hello from tomorrow. I love it. And so, yeah, and you know, that's been the fun part about this show now that we're in our fourth year, or going in our fifth year, I think, is how international we are. Like, I love the fact that this can connect us no matter where we are in the world. So thank you for.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We get to meet people all over the world. It's a great time that we're alive, right?
It truly is. There is a silver lining, right, for sure. So first and foremost, please, if you would, just take a minute and introduce yourself and what you're all about.
Sure. So I work with experts and professional service business owners and entrepreneurs and help them to really unpack their IP or their intellectual property and extract their thought leadership so that they can become the authority in their industry. It's all about monetizing your expertise in a different way and creating freedom in your business. And I'm sure that we're going to go into a little bit more about my story as to why that's so important to me. But that's what I do. It's all about freedom.
Yeah, and that's why you and I get along so well. That is, I am freedom obsessed. I have certainly come from survival mode where I didn't have so many freedoms, right? And now it's just like all I can think about and all I can, do to make all that happen. So so tell us more about why it is important to you. I know why it's important to me and many others, but why is it so important to you that be, top priority, and just what have you had to come through personally?
Yeah, sure. So going back in the very early 90s, I first went into business. And the reason I decided to go into business for myself was that I had two young children at home. I had my then husband was working shift work. I was working corporate. I was actually working in a government job. And life was pretty tough. And there was this, I can actually remember it specifically this day, that I looked around and I thought, oh my goodness, this is my future. Everyone else in the office was, 30 years older than I was. I was only 19 at the time. And, they were all in their 40s, 50s. They had kids that were the same age as me. And I thought, oh my goodness, no one's smiling. They've all been here their whole life. They got, they were lovely people. But seriously, they've been there their whole life, right? And it was just a wake-up call where, some changes in our life happen over time and some of them are instant. And it was in that instant that I thought, this is not what I want for my life. So decided to go into business. Now, at that time, I didn't think about what that future looks like.
Right.
I just went, got to go into business to get out of this. And went into, it was originally a dance studio. And within 12 months, we also opened up a dancewear store. So we had retail store. And then around 2000 we opened up another store, late 2000s another one, and that's all really great, but I hadn't looked into the future and thought, well, great, these businesses have got me out of that job. They brought us a lot of money. We had a really great lifestyle. We used to take the kids overseas a couple times a year. We had a beautiful home and European cars and all the great things that people think are fantastic, and they are. I'm not saying they're not. But I had to be there every day. And if I wasn't there every day, I had to have a staff member there every day. So, I had almost retired myself out of the business, but there was still someone that had to be there. And, just to put that in perspective, the day that my third child was born, I went into labor. I was only in labor with him for 50 minutes. So there was this mad I was just like to my husband, thank goodness it wasn't my first. And I knew, this is going really fast. You need to find someone to open but you need to find someone to open the shop today. And we couldn't find another staff person to open the shop. So in this mad scramble of me almost having my baby in the car park of our shop because he's trying to open it for someone to come in, I hadn't really thought into the future what that looked like.
Right.
So fast forward to 2010, I separated from my husband and he actually accrued those businesses. And it was a really devastating time for me because we'd been married 20 years and, my life as I knew it had gone. But again, I had this moment where I thought, this is an opportunity for me to rewrite the story. What is it that I really, really want? And I sat down. What I really, really wanted was to be in business. I love business. I really wanted to be able to work wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I wanted to be on the road traveling, and I wanted to be surrounding myself all the time with people that inspire me. I love being around entrepreneurs and having those conversations. I went, okay, that's what I love. What can I create using my expertise, using my experience, knowing what I love, what can I create? And it's been a bit of a journey, but, this is where I am. And that's where freedom is so important to me. And I want other people to understand that they don't need to be in a business that locks them into a location unless that's what they want. So it's more about what is it that you want in the future? If you want to be in a house on the hill with a picket fence, then let's create it so that you're doing that and working in school hours so you can see your kids. Do you want to be on the road traveling? Like, you and I love having that freedom. Let's create that. So it's about how can we design your business to create the life that you want and let the business fit around that instead of the other way around.
Yes. That's why you and I get along so well, because I'm like totally right there with you.
I remember you've got a similar story. So.
I know. I know, and I'm sure a lot of people listening know mine, but the whole thing about, the first business I bought was a storefront, right? And I thought it was freedom. I thought it was like I work for myself. It was I was on my own terms freedom, right?
Yes.
And I think
it's step one, right?
Yeah,
because
step one.
It is more freedom. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think
the
that's the distinction to make, right? Is like, let's talk more about the freedom types, because there's freedom of location, there's freedom of time, there's freedom of money, there's freedom of mental space and clarity, and doing things on your own terms versus having to answer to someone else. Like, that's a freedom. And I too I kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore, like work for somebody else, live in a cubicle, and I just want to shoot myself, and be 50 years old in a cubicle. Right. So I did the first step like you did, and bought that storefront or created this. And then I went like, now I'm hooked to a store. So what other freedoms did you notice that you were also sacrificing in the process?
You're right. There's so many freedoms. And for me, it was really, and it's not just for me, this is something that's really important for everyone to understand how to map this out, is to be really, really aware of your core values. It wasn't until I tapped into my core values that I could actually start to explore what this business could look like. So I actually worked, and I suggest that everyone does this, because this takes the pattern of going through them from logic to heart. I actually worked with a kinesiologist to help me unpack them. And what was really good about that is what she ended up coming up with was not like, I actually had to have a little bit of, emotional clearing around them to really understand what they were. So this is why it's so important to not just go, my core values are family and integrity and honesty. That's what everyone says. But, as business owners, integrity is important to all of us, or it should be. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a core value.
Right.
So my top core values are, my number one is love. So that's why it was so important to me to be always surrounded by people. At that time, I was also single. So that was a huge challenge for me to be running a business on my own without having an intimate partner with me.
Love.
Right. Okay. So for some, so I could say I can do things on my own, but I wasn't enjoying to do things on my own.
Got it.
That was the first one. Second one, freedom. I mean, that's my second core value. That was super easy. So if I'm not, you know, a lot of people don't like flying. If I'm not in a plane every month, I'm not terribly happy. Like, you know, I love to sit in a plane and read a book and, you know, the excitement of going to the airport or being on the road. I love doing road trips as well. So, but if, you know, if I've got a whole month at home, grumpy Sam. So that's the second one. I might be little, but I'm feisty.
And Australia's on my list, so we're coming to see you.
Oh, totally.
On that airplane.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine us together? It's going to be so much fun. And the third core value, and this is the one that I actually have had to have the clearing around, is beauty.
Is
because
what?
when I first, beauty.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I first heard it, I was like, oh, I'm not a judgmental person and think that you have to be beautiful for me to like you. That was my logical going, no, that's not right. But once I understood it, it's about, and the first question I was asked is, when you're putting together dinners for your clients, or when you're putting together a party, how do you choose that restaurant? And I was like, I go on the internet and I look to see what it looks like. I look at that before I look at the menu. You know, I'm very well known for hosting theme parties, and every single detail is there. You know, if we're having a Hawaiian party, like there's the Hawaiian food and there's the torches and everyone gets the lei, you know, it's just all the details there. So once I understood that, I understood I need to be in an office that is beautiful, that's got the colors that I like. I need to have a great outlook. I need to be near the beach because I find the beach beautiful. I need to make sure that if I'm putting together a conference, that the table settings are beautiful, that the workbooks are beautiful. And so infusing that all in, and then all of those core values are how I create my business so it feels right.
Yeah.
When I do that, getting back to your original question, is that gives me the freedom to not be afraid of the bills that are coming in because I can pay them, the freedom to be in places that I enjoy being in, the freedom to be surrounded by the people I want, the freedom to be location independent. There's so many different freedoms there.
Yeah, I love that. And I know, and I think the beauty one, I can relate. I can certainly relate. I mean, just look at, you know, my
absolutely. Right? It's the first thing I noticed when the video came on. I was like, oh, it looks so gorgeous.
And because I do intentionally think about those things, but not from a vanity, from an environmental enjoy, and beaches me too, like the ocean. Hello.
Yes.
And so I love that distinction was, you know, like you said, kind of emotionally cleared up and, you know, really connecting to what makes your heart sing, because, you know, like, and I would probably say that beauty or what have you, that list of values, probably in my top 5 or top 10, but freedom, yes, you and I both, is number 1. And so tell us, this is the question I heard, was tell me a time in detail about when you were out of alignment with those core values that just really rocked your world, like took you out of the game.
Yep, totally. So after I got divorced, I had this time where I was really struggling to find myself. I didn't know who I was anymore. I mean, I got married when I was 17, so I'd never done life as an adult on my own. So I was quite lost, you know, and I think it was this shame that I put on myself, thinking, wow, you've been this businesswoman that ran all these businesses and made millions of dollars and, you know, totally ran a household with 3 kids and, you know, tight shit. And all of a sudden I felt like an absolute mess. So I was I was serving myself a shame sandwich on top of all of this.
Got it.
So I moved interstate. So I moved to a different state, which was a huge move. I did it on my own. I just decided one day I wanted to move. And 3 weeks later, I just found a tenant in my house, just packed up all my stuff, moved to another city. And the house that we were in, it was in a beautiful location, but the actual apartment was old. It wasn't inspiring to work in. So I was there on my own. I was not in an environment that inspired me. You know, knowing that beauty is my top value, I couldn't create. You know, I'm a creative. I create programs and you know, blog posts and podcasts and, you know, I create all this stuff. And I felt like I couldn't because I felt like an empty vessel. I was just a body with nothing inside. And it's very, very, very difficult to create a business and a life around, you know, not being able to feel like you could, you know, do something. So that was probably one of the lowest points in my life. You know, I wasn't surrounded by people. I was in a place that I didn't really love because the business wasn't going so great. I wasn't traveling a lot. I was still traveling a little bit, but it wasn't very much, you know. Money was tight. So it just went against every value that I had. And it took a lot of guts, you know, had to get my brave on to be able to get out of that, because that, I find that that's the most challenging. It's one thing to say, be brave and move on. But when you feel like you've got nothing inside, just to get that momentum feels like it is just so hard.
Yeah,
and
you're
so
in quicksand.
Yeah.
So how did you, like, what kind of give people that sense of how to do it? I know it's one step at a time, but what steps did you take?
Yeah, and that's a really important piece. It is one step at a time. And that was something that I really had to understand as I was beating myself up, just saying, Sam, what's the next step? So for me, it was about getting really clear on what is it that I actually want. So it was at this time of my life that I found my core values out, that I'd worked with the kinesiologist. So once I got those, I was like, okay, let's imagine what life could look like, you know. And at that time, I didn't even say 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I didn't even worry about that. It was just like sometime in the future, what would this look like? Because that's where I was, right? It was just like anything to get me out of here. So, and it was just one step at a time. Okay, well, let's get the business back up and like, let's inject some work into here. So it was taking myself out and working at cafes rather than working at home. It was reaching out and changing my inner circle and meeting new people. And, you know, in a new city, it was getting my brave on to reach out to people online and go, and just opening up that conversation and getting out and meeting to them and talking to them, because it's those conversations that inspire me and energize me. You know, and they were the biggest things. It was getting really clear on what it was that I wanted my future life to look like. And then one little piece at a time, understanding that there's all these parts in our life that need to be together to get our business working. It's our relationships, it's our health, it's, you know, it's our environment, it's our business or career or whatever it is. It's our personal growth or spirituality or whatever you want to call it. And I just started to work on little tiny bite-sized pieces in every single one of these areas. And then, you know, as it got easier and I'd take a bigger bite and a bigger bite. And it was just this constant cycle of making sure that everything in that, you know, that wheel of life, I guess, was looked after, to a point where, you know, I'm here now. But it wasn't just I woke up one day and I'm here. It was a slow evolution of just, you know, what's the next thing? I guess it's the hero's journey. You just keep going around, right?
Yeah. You know, it's like, I mean, if you want to drive from where you are to the other side of a country, right, then, or state or what have you, you've got to get on the road, first of all. But it's not like, even an airplane, even though it's faster, you don't just poof, you're there at the destination. It is like one step at a time, or 1 mile at a time, or what have you. And so it's just great that you're bringing this up. And of course it resonates actually quite well with something I just am going through myself currently, and my own, you know, kind of finding myself again. I've like, you do this a couple of times in a lifetime, I think. And I've hit a brick wall again. And I was like, oh, I gotta recycle back to these values. And I just love how, like, that's a great place for people to start is what do you value, and are things aligned with that? And even if, like you said, just go, you know, if environment is important to you, which it is to me, like I created, you know, my office, it's like I painted it all white. It's like the windows and, you know, and of course I'd like an ocean. That's my next thing is get to the ocean. We may be moving, I don't know. But it's like, what small thing can you do to shift the state of that beingness, right?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, go to the coffee shop that's got a nice view or something like that, or just get out of the space that you're in. I think will help people listening. You know, it's like, it's not all or nothing, and it's not all at once, but you know, whatever small steps we can take will lead you in the direction. So when you did that, now you're kind of in a hardship, and, you know, things are not going in the right direction. How long did it take you to start to see results because you just focused on the next step?
For me, I started to see little results pretty much as soon as I changed my perspective.
Yes, perfect.
But it wasn't going from $0 to $1 million all at once, right? You know, talking about the apartment, gosh, you and I are so similar. You know, I went from the apartment that I didn't like to working, you know, near the beach or in a beautiful coffee shop, to moving closer to the beach, to moving a little bit closer to the beach. And, you know, at this, you know, I've just been in this apartment for a year and it was on my vision board. It's painted, you know, it's painted white. The beach is just out the window. You know, it's in the perfect location. It's got everything, I love cooking. So the beautiful kitchen that I wanted with all the appliances I wanted. Everything that I put on my vision board, I've got. That took me 3 years to get from, you know, where I was to here. My income, probably, I would say it will never get to where I want it to be because I'm a very driven person. And whilst I'm not solely driven by money, I'm driven by the chase for what do I need to do to get that money. I love that, you know, creating and can I, it's a personal thing. Can I make it bigger? Can I grow it bigger? Can I do this better? So I don't think I'll ever reach the end of that. But, you know, I think that what was really important is to reflect and actually acknowledge the small wins on the way. So you just don't always be thinking, oh, I just can't get there, because it's that feeling that stops you from moving forward. So something that I do every week in life and business, and I've done it for a long time, and there was this period obviously where I didn't do it, but I'm back doing it again, is always reflecting. What were my wins last week? What didn't work? What did work? Cool. What do we need to let go of? What do we need to do more of? Let's keep going. And that's something that I do every single week without fail.
I love that. And I know we're kindred spirits here. But what I hear inside of that message, number one, is because again, my point of this is to show people we might be here, and our current situation may be something someone on listening is desiring. It's like, but they don't see the whole picture, the whole journey. And it's about the journey, not the destination called where we are now. And in order to follow, you said follow the steps or whatever, I call it the breadcrumbs, right? Just follow the breadcrumbs and one foot in front of the other. And the closer it's like each decision can move you closer to your ultimate vision. But if you don't make the first decision, or move the first apartment to the second apartment to the third apartment, right? And I think I think we should talk about this for a minute.
I was actually going to say, do you mind if we go there? Because something came in there.
See, we're on the same page. Money is not a bad thing. It's a tool. It gives you the freedom. Like if you're freedom obsessed, then money should probably be right behind it, in my opinion. Right? 100%,
because it doesn't matter what your freedom is. Whether it's that I want to meditate under a tree and I want the freedom to be able to do that, or, I want to live where I want, or I want the freedom to be able to go, purchase whatever I want or go wherever I want, or I want the freedom to contribute more to society. It doesn't matter what one of those it is, you need money for every single one of them. And money isn't evil. It's just a vehicle to get you to what you want.
Exactly.
And what I wanted to bring up with the that small steps is what I find with a lot of my clients, and probably there are certain times in my life as well that it's affected me. You start to beat yourself up because, I only did, let's go right back to the beginning. I did a $5,000 month. I did a $10,000 month. It's just, it's not as good as all those other people on social media that are driving around in their Ferraris and, I'm just not good enough. Well, if I put $10,000 into your bank account today, would you be happy about that? Would that be like a huge win? Right. And I think that too often we don't, at the beginning of the journey, actually go, you know what? I just signed my first client at $2,000 after a normal, I normally charge $97 and I've charged $2,000. It's the first time.
Yeah.
Like, cheers to that. Let's drink a glass of champagne and celebrate that, because I remember one of my clients in one of my programs, it's about getting to you're reliable and recurring $10,000 months. That's the first step, right? And I remember her very first month, and I went, what'd you do, Kate? She's like, I did $6,000. Don't tell anyone. I'm sorry, like. And I went, $6,000. Do you know how many people would want to do $6,000 in their first month? And she was like, really? I thought I was a failure because I didn't do $10,000 in the first month. And I was like, oh my goodness,
Girl.
let's celebrate that 6,000. That is amazing, for first month out of the gate. So wherever you are, celebrate that win and just celebrate every win along the way, because one day you'll get there.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny because, it's a great reminder, because I'll tell you, 6 months ago, I was like, why am I not where I need to be? Even myself, like, this was what threw me into kind of a spiritual reawakening this last month. Because I literally threw myself into a brick wall, basically. And it came from this imposter syndrome, looking at where everybody else was and why am I not there yet? I've got the tools, I got the goods. I should be able to figure this out. First sign. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wrong voice that I'm listening to. But it was the sense of, I'm resisting the fact that I'm not there and I'm here, right? Yeah. It's the resistance in the fact that we're here. And clearly, yes. I have 5-figure months and, and it's and I've even had 6-figure months at one time, but it was very isolated. I did a 3-day event, made $250,000, it is, and yet it's do I want to do that every month? No, I don't want to do a 3-day every single month.
That sounds exhausting.
That's a little tired. That doesn't align with my values.
That's right.
But I do like the 3-day event. It's just this sense of you're resisting where you are and celebrating where you are. Celebrate the $6,000, celebrate the 2,000, celebrate the 20,000, celebrate the 200,000, whatever. But it's just, you're reminding me, and I'm sure we're reminding others in this moment, that's how the transformation actually begins.
Absolutely.
Not in the going and trying to do more, or even beating yourself up because you're not where you want to be, because that keeps you stuck. That maintains your now versus transforming it. And
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing. That's why I asked the question, not necessarily how fast can you do this, but it was I wanted people to see that it wasn't in day one and all of a sudden everything flipped and you manifested it in 2 days and now we're living on the beach. But but you didn't stop. You didn't quit. You stayed in the game. You kept getting your brave on. You kept, waking up and being the brave master that you are. We all are. And so I'm curious. I have a curiosity question. So as a brave master, because that's what you are, do you have a routine? Do you have a morning routine or a routine per day that keeps you centered, that keeps you connected to your values and to yourself?
Yeah, I actually do. And I didn't for a while because, the whole freedom thing, don't like structure. So what I'm saying today might not be what it is tomorrow, but definitely. Right. And I've actually had this for nearly a year now. I always get up and I go for a walk. And I either walk with my husband or I walk with a podcast. Either of those things, because I'm energized by both of those things. And I do my 10,000 steps every day. I'm at the beach every day. And that's how I start the day. I have my breakfast. I log on. I make sure that my team have all got tasks to go on with. I check in and say hi. And just like I did this morning, hi guys, I've uploaded everything in Asana. You've all got things to go on with. I'm doing interviews all day. I'll see you this afternoon. So that's my routine, is to get up, to go for my walk. That's my me time. And make sure that my team has got things to go on with, so that I can then choose what am I going to do for the day. And if I don't go for my walk, there's probably in the last year maybe 3 times that I haven't. And I'm always, that day does not go well, because I don't have that time to just get up and just focus on me before I help others, because that's what it is. Even though my team is helping me, I'm still got my focus on them. And that doesn't work. As business owners, we've got to be focused on ourselves.
Yeah, I love that.
Something else I wanted to mention really quickly. You did mention about being a brave master, and, we take these small steps every day and we get to these places. No, I don't know about you, Jena, but for me, there is not one single day that I don't come out of my comfort zone a little bit. It doesn't matter how far I've come. I think it's really important to know that even the gurus, even Tony Robbins has days where he's out of his comfort zone. We all do. So don't think it's just you. Learn to embrace it rather than push it away.
Agreed. And I think that, because I think that's where the greatness is. It's meaning, like truly even the greats, because they've got to some certain level that we've defined as great, have to continue to create great. Right. Yes. So, Tony Robbins and Oprah. And I mean, I even know Oprah, she's got her uncomfortableness and she's got her challenges, but she continues to stay in the game of it. And, thank you for bringing that up. I totally agree. And brave master, like meaning being a brave master does not mean you've mastered it. It means that you're practicing every day.
Love it. Yeah, right? Absolutely. Love it.
So let's ask, because I can explain it, I can say it all day long, but what would you say brave means to you?
To me, if I'm looking at, whether it's within myself or looking at other people, to me, brave doesn't mean doing something epic. To me, being brave is doing something that really scares you and going, you know what, I'm going to do this. Yes. And whatever it takes to get there. I don't even care if people reach out and say, I'm not feeling very brave, but I need to do this. Can you hold my hand? That's still being brave, because they've made that call out. So being brave is doing whatever you need to do to be able to take the next step.
Yeah. I love that. It's not epic or huge or, it doesn't have to be, defined that way, but it is something that just continues to pull you forward and grow you and expand you versus like really holding you back and staying, staying safe, which is an illusion.
Well, it's not real. And understanding what it is that inspires you. So for me, I realized that I actually really, really want my children, who my 3 children are adults now, my children and my new husband, they are really, really special to me. And I want to have them looking at me and thinking, wow, like Sam's doing amazing things. We're so proud of her. I want to inspire them because they're the 4 people in my world that inspire me the absolute most. So I've actually got photos of them on my desk. And every time I think I can't do this, or I don't want to push that button for whatever it is, launching something out into the world, it's like they're on my desk, and I always look over and say, what would they want me to do? They would be, that's awesome, you should totally do that. They've got my back more than me sometimes. So I just use that little momentum or whatever it is to go, actually, I know they would want me to do it. I've got this. I can do it.
I can do it. They got my back. Yeah. I love that. Mine is on my phone, right? My family, like on my, just open it up.
Oh, that's awesome.
My doggy too. Sitting right here on the floor.
Oh, that's very cute.
He inspires me too. Like, he's so sweet. But I love this conversation, and I know, I loved when we met and were able to just connect in so many levels, and you're doing so much for, not creating, that too, but absolutely inspiring and motivating people to be the thought leader that they are, right? And to really to foster that and to bring that out. And I love that. That's certainly speaks my language. And I just really appreciate, you sharing all of it, like sharing all of the kind of the downfalls and certainly the successes and the ocean you get to live by, because you did what you needed to do to get there. And I think that's, what I want people to hear is that it's a winding road. It's not a straight shot to your visions. And sometimes when you arrive at your vision, the vision changes and you got to go do something else, right? Who knows, right?
Absolutely. So, absolutely. Well, thank you for giving me the vehicle to inspire more people. I appreciate you.
Of course. Yeah. I wish we could talk all day, so we'll do it again sometime, figure it out. But in the meantime, I would love for you to, of course, share with everyone where they can reach you. What's the best way to connect?
Sure. So you can find me at samanthariley.global. All of my social media handles are there on the website. I'm not going to confuse everyone with where I am. Just head to the website, see where it is. You can actually go to samanthariley.global/freedom. I've got a freedom business matrix that I've put together, which is the 9 different strategies that I've used to move from one-to-one coaching into one-to-many and create more freedom in my business. So they're 9 strategies that I've used personally. So they're not just out of a book somewhere, and they do work. And so jump on and grab that, samanthariley.global/freedom.
Awesome. Freedom. Yes, freedom rings. I love it. Thank you so much for that gift to everyone. I'll check it out myself. And, and this has been really powerful. So in closing, I have one final question. And that is, if this was your last speech, this was your last talk, your last interview, what would be the message you want to leave on the world?
Very powerful question. It got me right in the feels, that one.
Stab you in the heart.
Right there. I want everyone to know that the world needs you. Yeah. You have got experiences, you have got knowledge, you have got expert status in something. Use that, extract that information, really develop your thought leadership, because by you doing that, you can change so many other people's lives. So give yourself the love and the respect that you need to understand that people need what you have. So tap into that and get it out there, change the world. Because when we're all changing the world in a positive way, the world's changed.
The world's positive.
Exactly.
I love that. I know it's like we've got to speak up, and so I appreciate that message for sure. And so thank you, Samantha. Thanks for being here. This is fantastic, and I can't wait to reconnect with you in the future. And until then, let's go get our brave on.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jena.
You're so welcome.